Hello everybody and welcome to our sophomore presentation from Montgomery High School Guidance about what's coming down the road. Just what should I expect in the years to come? My name is Keith Glock and I want to thank everybody for tuning in to this presentation, and hopefully we're going to be able to give you a little bit of a better idea about what to expect. And certainly I know that this can be a nerve-wracking time if this is your first child, parents who is proceeding through the high school. And you know, sophomores, as you watch this, I'm sure that this is going to answer some questions that you may have had, conversations that you may have had with your friends about what is going on. So again, let's take a look at the Montgomery Guidance Department. This is who we are. You can always make an appointment through email or just coming down and talking to one of the secretaries down here in Guidance. If you don't know who your counselor is, simply stop on down here and say, you know, hey, this is my last name. Can you tell me who my counselor is? But hopefully you are aware of who we are at this point. So let's talk about what you have already done in grade 9. You took classes that were challenging to you in all of those core classes. We have attempted through this pandemic to get to know all of you as best that we possibly can. You all have done the same, and we thank you for that. You're going to go to your teachers after school help days, hopefully, which are a little more regularly in person as we move through the springtime. And you're hopefully participating in something else other than just coming to school and then going home and doing some work and then coming back and doing it all over again. So right now in sophomore year, what is it that you should be doing? Again, we're always going to talk about challenging you in taking those core classes. And challenging doesn't mean all honors or all AP classes or even any honors or AP classes. We're talking about what classes can you get somewhere between an 88 to a 93, and if you are working hard. If you're doing no work at all and you're getting a 94, you should probably try to take an honors class or two. If you are struggling in an honors class and you're getting an 81, a 79, you're spending 2 and 3 hours a night doing homework and you're frustrated, it's probably not the right placement. We understand that everybody has aspirations and wants to push themselves. We do, and I am very, very happy about that is the population that largely encompasses Montgomery High School. But what we also know is that the 79 in an honors or an AP class, the 81 in the honors or the AP class, and the very much detached social life that you might have because you are feeling compelled to continue to take these honors or AP classes because that's what you've heard you have to do, you're not benefiting yourself on so many levels. First off, colleges, yes, are going to tell you, well, we want you to take honors and AP classes. Of course they do. The thing that they leave out most times is, oh, we also want you to get an A. So while certainly the highest achieving schools in the country, we have to understand the application population when we're talking about college. Your Princetons, your Yales, Penn, you know, if you want to look at the Ivies, you want to look at, you know, Stanford, Cal, you pick the selective university in the country that we're talking about. The application pool is full of students with all honors and AP classes and all grades above 90. And for most students, and when I say most, I mean I'm talking about 97, 98% of our population, that's not an attainable thing. And that's not only Montgomery High School, that's nationally. It's not a thing that we should be upset about or feel less than about. It means that we need to make sure that we're doing a better job in selecting our classes. I would much rather, there's data-driven, you know, analysis of this that says if you are taking some CP and some honors and you get all 90s, you stand a better chance of admission at a lot of places than if you sprinkle in that 79 or the 81 in the honors of the AP class. It's just the way that it is. So be aware of that as you move forward. Planning your years, there's elective classes that we have to take. You need to take a full year of visual performing arts. You also need to take a year of career exploration and that 1 semester of financial literacy. Making that plan for how you're going to complete all of that comes easily with your counselor, and we do that in February during course selection. How in the world are we going to figure out what it is we want to do when we are done here at Montgomery High School? It's a question that we get often enough, and Naviance is a great tool. We are going to use it extensively in the college application process. both in the search and the actual application. But we're also going to use it to make sure that we have an understanding about what it is that what direction we think it is we want to go. So this Do What You Are survey is a way that we can accomplish that in Naviance. It's essentially a modified version of the Myers-Briggs type inventory where it will take you through a bunch of things and say, well, do you like this? Do you like that? How do you analyze this? How do you analyze that? Do you work better this way or that way? And it's going to spit you out a whole list of potential occupations based on those answers. Personality type is another thing that we really take pride in as educators in understanding, because if we can understand the type of personality that you all have, we can better understand just how we can help serve you better as educators. Personality type is another survey that we have within Naviance that you can take. It's going to ask you a lot of some of those similar questions to Do What You Are, but more about yourself. Do you like waking up early, or are you a night owl? Music on or off? Active, less active? Things like that. And using that, teachers are going to have access to that in your Naviance. And completing that will allow teachers to take a look and say, well, you know what? Okay, maybe this isn't working for this particular student because here's what their personality type says. Food for thought. So when we meet with you in February, as we talk about this 88 to 93, I can't stress this enough. That's why, I'm circling back to it again here now in this slide. We need to make a plan. Having a plan it's of paramount importance. If we're just like, oh, well, I'll just take it and change if it doesn't work out, I don't like that plan. The reason why is because there's not an infinite number of available classes should you need to change if you're not having success in the fall. Understanding that, if you make the decision to go that route anyway, you're going to take a risk that your entire schedule, different teachers, times of the day, which letter day, could all get changed if we need to make a change and it doesn't fit quite into the puzzle that is the master schedule at Montgomery High School. So please sit with us, ask careful questions. We will offer our insights and opinions about if you want to challenge yourself in that next space, what is the most appropriate place to do it. So all of that said, once you actually take classes and are completing them, they go on your transcript. So now, what is on your transcript? It's 4 years of grades. It's not report cards, it's only your final grade. Lists the courses, it has Mrs. Gaylord's name on it with her stamp on it that says, yep, this is exactly who this student is and these are the grades that they got. And I'm actually going to take you through it. Right here is what it looks like. So if you look at the top left, you see grade 9, top right grade 10, bottom left grade 11, bottom right grade 12. This is obviously a sample transcript. Below that, you see a weighted and an unweighted grade point average. And this is the only piece of paper from an academic standpoint that we send to schools. So it's important that you have an idea that this is what it looks like. And if you want a copy of this, you can email your counselor. It's not available in your Genesis account, and we will email you back. Please know that we only update this document twice annually. It gets updated once at the conclusion of the year, and it gets updated one more time after semester 1. I don't think that we can find success that ends up on that transcript without study skills. Understanding that, oftentimes we've gotten by on having a great teacher, making a connection, having a lot of academic ability. That runs out for everyone at some point. Everything isn't always going to be super easy, or you're going to be able to navigate around it. You're going to need to figure out what works best for you. Space this stuff out. Talked about creating a plan in terms of our course selection. You need to create a plan in terms of your studying. We all have had days where you have 1-2 tests in a day. You also have review for a test that's coming up the block after that. it can be overwhelming. If you wait until the night before to start your studying for all that, that is not necessarily the greatest way to go about this. You're going to find a comfortable place, but it shouldn't be too comfortable where you want to fall asleep. And you always want to make sure that you're going after the most important stuff first. That just kind of stands to reason. I can't stress enough how important it is to be effective in class. If you spend all of your time taking notes in class and saying, well, oh my gosh, I have to get everything that's written on the board or on a PowerPoint, the likelihood is that the teacher will provide that information to you or already has in Google Classroom or in Genesis. So spend time in class filling in the gaps. Notice the PowerPoint, notice the presentation going on, but really pay attention to what is actually happening within the classroom. Because oftentimes teachers will emphasize the things that are going to be on their assessments. So if you're just spending the time writing and not really listening, that's not going to be as beneficial for you as it might otherwise be. Supplement the PowerPoint information with the notes you're taking based on what's happening within the class. Standardized testing, and I didn't take notice of the SAT-2 still being written on this slide. SAT-2 is no longer. SAT-2s, for those of you who don't know, it stood for subject area tests, and it were exactly what they sounded like: biology, chemistry, American history, specified tests that College Board offered that they have done away with. So that is gone. Only the top schools in the country, about the 30 or 40 most selective schools in the country, were requiring that you take those anyway. So for the vast majority of us, that would not have applied anyhow, but now those are off the board. But standardized testing is certainly a thing that if you haven't been involved with it yet with the PSAT, you should get involved with the PSAT in the fall of junior year. And then by the time we get to spring of junior year, you should be making a plan for SATs and ACTs. What is the PSAT? PSAT is simply practice. For 10th graders, this PSAT in October was only practice. It didn't count for anything other than that. When you take the PSAT again in 11th grade, it could qualify the very, 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 very top scorers in the National Merit scholarship pool. Starts out when you're a senior, you'll get notice that you're a semifinalist, and then you have to go through a couple more rounds after that. It's very, very rare that a student actually wins one of the National Merit Scholarships. But Montgomery typically has a bunch of semifinalists every year based on PSAT scores, and that number, what that qualification number for semifinalist is, fluctuates every year based on how students across the nation have fared on the test. Please understand that SATs and ACTs, after we register for them, College Board, ACT.org, if we're still going to take them, they are becoming a less and less important part of our application society. The pandemic has changed so many things about the process that is applying to college that standardized testing has just become minimized. Right now, all of the schools that were test optional during the pandemic have remained that way. I don't see a mass change back, certainly for the next calendar year and probably for the calendar year after that. It really would not surprise me if many of these schools never went back to requiring standardized testing scores when you apply. I think that what we're hearing from colleges is that for a very long time, they required those scores because they didn't think that they could complete the application assessment process without those standardized scores. But what they're finding is they were, like so many of us, forced to go outside of that comfort zone and figure out another way. And now that they have, I think that may be here to stay. So we're going to keep an eye on that, obviously, and we'll have more information for you all as you get into the application process when you are seniors. Test prep and coaching programs, I'm not going to spend too much time on. When the time comes, spring of junior year, to start really taking SATs and ACTs, we just ask that you do prep, whether that is an online course, an in-person tutor, free test prep through Khan Academy, or the standardized testing prep class that we offer here after schools on Tuesdays and Thursdays. There's many different ways to prep, and we just ask that you do something. I can't emphasize enough as we talk about our helpful hints here, how important reading is, like just simply reading books. If we want to talk about students that score well in the critical reading sections of these exams, it is students who read. Read, read, read. You become more familiar, more comfortable with vocabulary, and that is only going to help you on the test. So if I had one piece of advice about what you do between here and when you're going to take those tests, if you're going to take those tests, it's read, please. So, also one other thing that I wanted to make sure that I mentioned, so I flip back here, was take those time practice tests. If we understand that, we certainly do everything better if we've practiced it, then that is going to lead us to a place where we're going to do better on these tests if we have practiced them. So I want to thank everybody for watching this. This has been what's coming down the road for our sophomore class. Look forward to seeing very much more of all of you in person, which is obviously what's led me to creating this presentation here in our gymnasium by myself. And hopefully none of this will be happening for all that much longer. Have a great day.